So, but I got to lose my shit at Paul Pierce 6, 7, whatever he is. What you don't realize is we're blocking this scene for an hour. And it dawns on me that Paul Pierce has never been told that Mark Wahlberg is not in this.
I don't know if that's true.
I am sure that Paul Pierce thought I was a stand-in up till action.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. I'm not saying for jokes. This is for real. Because we shot that scene before I think we shot the other stuff.
That's
so not
incredible.
Only,
well, that's on batch. That's incredible.
No idea. It literally says, at one point when we're blocking, he said, "What's your name?"
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's so good.
All right, so, hi, everybody. Welcome to the pod. And I'm constantly talking about, like, life lessons and stuff that we learn, like bonfire kind of stuff on this podcast. But then I realized last night that really anything that I say that you guys think is wise or you kind of dig or vibrates for you comes from my life experience. And I was sitting talking with my wife last night about my journey, my professional journey, my life journey, and it is the most ridiculous route, none of which is planned, most of which was ill-advised, a lot of luck and craziness. And so today I just wanted to share one of the funniest and definitely most uncomfortable, awkward, could have been horrible moments in my career, none of which should have happened. And I'll tell you all about it in this episode, but I'm glad to have my good friend Jay Longino here. Jay, thank you, my man, for showing up.
Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Yeah. So for background, Jay is executive producer. He's a TV producer. He's a film producer. He's a writer. The movie Uncle Drew, great basketball movie, a classic basketball movie. That was your joint. You did that whole thing.
Yep. Got dunked on by Kyrie Irving in the movie.
He got dunked on by Kyrie. Yeah. And he still talks to you. So that's good.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah.
But where our paths cross, I'm going to talk about where our paths cross, but the episode of my life that it's both a huge win for me and the cringiest moment of my life was a show called Sneakerheads that Jay created, that was on Netflix, and I'm in. But it's so fucked up. So first of all, Jay, good to see you, my man. And I'm so glad to see you. And here's the backstory of how we met. We met at the Hollywood Y.
We did.
Which is a melting pot of all of Hollywood.
Yeah, anyone who plays basketball and works in Hollywood has played at the Hollywood Y, for sure.
I always tell the story that when I first came back from New York after doing a talk show, I needed to get in shape. I was just starting to play basketball. If you can imagine, I was worse than I am now. We'll talk about that.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I don't know that you can imagine, but and so I didn't want to join like a Hollywood gym, so I go to the Y. It was pretty broken down. I'm like, this is perfect, and I go up to the little gym,
small gym,
which is where it used to be. The game used to be the 3:00 game, and there's a chalkboard, and I sign my name MW up there, and there's two names on the list already, A and initial D, and I'm like, great, this is so not Hollywood, this gym. And I wait for a while, and the gym fills up, and then the game starts, and A is Arsenio, and D is Denzel.
That's amazing.
Everybody came through that.
That's real? That's true?
Yes, for real.
That's amazing.
First day.
Yeah. That's a pretty good start.
But Jay, Jay played high school ball, he played college ball at Colorado College. He played in Mexico professionally, played in Australia a little bit professionally. He's a baller, like legit baller, which is why this beginning, this origin story of our friendship and this TV thing, it just could not be more uncomfortable for me. So backstory is, we played a pickup game at Hollywood.
When did you start playing there? Do you remember?
What year? I got like a 30-year shirt. So I started there right after I came back from New York, which was 96.
That's to say, my first run there was in January of 97.
Yeah. So heyday of the small gym 3:00 run.
Yep.
Which was Dwayne Martin. It was Denzel, Robert Townsend, Barry Gordy the fourth used to play there all the time. We'd see pros come in and out every now and then. But I didn't meet you probably until many years later. I'm not really sure.
I disappeared for a little. I played there I had just finished playing in Mexico and was waiting to go to Australia. So I started playing there then. Then I went back to Atlanta, played for a USBL team in Atlanta, coached a high school team there. And then the writing thing started to happen. So I came back out in I think that was 98 or 99, maybe 98. And that's when I then started all the time. Then I took a 2 years off to party, not hoop. And then I got, but
you were doing research for further writing.
Exactly.
And producing.
Exactly.
To give you context, the fact that we're friends and hang out at basketball is already a stretch that I want to try to figure out, because Jay played on a professional level. Jay today plays at a great level, one of the best shooters I've ever seen. And also the thing about, I'm talking about you like you're not here. Also the thing about Jay is the greatest guy in the world. On the court will fuck you up if he has to. Which is true.
Yeah. I'm a competitive dude.
But the point is, I suck. I'm not a good basketball player. I'm a better basketball player now than when I played with you last.
But you were a good teammate, and you know that you suck.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And you know to get the fuck out of the way.
That's right.
When you need to get out of the way.
And I can play defense.
And you can do, you knew what
because I fell the fuck out of people.
You weren't costing your team games.
Yeah.
How about that? That's a compliment.
Thank you.
You knew what your role was.
Well, I said that about when I used to play in the NBA E-League. You know all about that league. And I used to say there were like three kinds of players there. There were the guys who could ball out, who were famous and could ball out. Then there were guys who were famous who thought they could ball out.
The worst.
And they were terrible. And there were guys who knew that they weren't great, but they were kind of famous and stayed in their lane. And I was kind of that dude.
Right.
Except also not that famous. So I think that was part of one of the things I love about basketball is if there's five players, it's jazz music. If you just know what note you're supposed to play, and if mine's lock down my guy, set a pick, and get the fuck out of the way, and never ever shoot the ball.
Yeah,
that's my lane.
Yeah.
The point I'm getting at is you're a baller at this level. I'm a guy that in a normal pickup game, and you got your five, and you're picking up the game. You roll your eyes or say, we already got your five when I walk up. But Jay always gave me respect and love, and most of our good time was on the bench. Then you would talk about projects you're doing. You always asked about what I was doing. So what I'm getting at is that Jay played ball at this level, and also in show business, there's this crowd from the Y who were getting it done in show business that you hung out with and worked with, and I knew that I was friends with you in the gym. If I saw you in the street, it was tight, good, and friends. But I never had any aspirations of getting called up for a private game because I knew where I was there. Nor did I ever think I was going to kind of jump into that scripted comedy, the hipster world of what's happening in Hollywood in what I considered your circle. A lot of this is my projection on what you were doing too.
Sure.
But not far from the truth. Until this shit came down. So, but let me just say this, that I always held you and do hold you in really high esteem as kind of like, it just is all that shit from middle school is like, he's the athlete and I want to kind of be the athlete and he's nice to me and sometimes passes the ball to me. So, like I'm bestowing upon you this love that you're not even aware of that matters to me on a big level emotionally. And so, but I was very clear that, there's the guys that you play ball with and then the guys that get the call to say, look, I got this joint I'm doing and you want to come in and write with me. You want to do this kind of thing. And I never thought I was going to be on that list at all. And now our mutual friend, Eni Clemens, who you guys would know as the shitty black cop in Straight Outta Compton is the easiest way to get to who he is. He's done a lot of stuff. A great basketball player as well.
Hold up.
But calls every foul and is a hack. Am I not wrong about that?
A good basketball player. Let's give him good.
He's a good basketball player.
Yes.
Who tries to get in your head.
Yes.
Throws elbows, calls every foul.
Correct.
Okay.
Fouls a lot.
Clear.
Fouls a lot.
He fouls a lot, but if you touch him, he calls.
No, he's a good ball. I'm just giving him shit. We love you, Eni.
I love you, Eni, but you know what's up. So anyway, I'm just thinking about all the times Eni and I have nearly I've almost gone to blows with him. It was never important.
Oh yeah, I used to hate the dude. Literally, I hated him.
Yeah. And
then we ran into him at Big Wang's and drank together. And then we were just like, but yeah, on the court, I was like, fuck this dude.
So Jay would pop in, we played ball, and we were friends. Eni, I knew a little bit closer than that. Played poker with him a little bit. I knew him from the league. I think we played back in the day. So now I'm in my backyard. I don't remember when it was. And it's like 10:30 at night. And, full transparency, kids are kind of out of the way. Robbie's in the house, and I'm wicked high.
I didn't know that part. It would have been March of 2019.
Okay. All right.
Would have been, yeah.
It's a blur to me. But I was way high. And my phone rings as Jay. And again, because I'm projecting a lot of Big Brother shit on you, I'm like, Jay's calling me. What could this be, right? And then what I totally expected was a pocket dial or a mistake or, yo, do you have Annie's number or something like that.
Right.
So Jay, if I remember correctly, says this to me. Yo, Wahlberg, what's up? Hey, Jay, what's up? He says, I'm about to make you more famous, sir. Now, first of all, you're a writer and producer on a big level with a college education. So at first I'm like, that's not even a sentence.
Did I really say that?
Yeah, I'm going to make you more famous, sir.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. Now remember, I'm high. And then you start pitching me. I'm doing this show. I should let you tell. So,
well, I should give you some context in where I was in that situation. So we had this show Sneakerheads. It started off was going to be just a small thing that like ran on Complex. Okay.
So this plays into what I'm about to tell you.
And it was my first time show running. But we always knew the show was going to be bigger than initial just because of the culture in the world. Like it's just the timing. We're like, this thing's going to pop.
Which it became, by the way, Sneakerheads, the series was number 4 worldwide on Netflix.
Yeah, at one point it was top 10 in 26 countries on Netflix.
Yeah. You got to check it out. I'll tell you more about it, but it's really a very funny, short 8 episodes, 7 episodes.
6 episodes.
Arc.
And it's ridiculous, but it's fun.
Yeah,
and it's
ridiculous and great.
It's like Entourage in the LA sneaker culture. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so while we were writing the show, the writer's room was just at my house, and it's me and Eni and a guy named Jason Belleville, and we had 4 other writers in the room with us. And we had this funny idea. We were like, let's just set an episode at Mark Wahlberg's house. Mark Wahlberg.
Not mine.
Yes, not
you don't
this
even
Mark
have to qualify.
Wahlberg.
You see, it's exactly how she thought.
Mark Wahlberg from Transformers and, all that stuff. We're like
I always say the Mark Wahlberg, not a Mark Wahlberg.
So, yes, he's a big sneakerhead. And so we just thought it'd be funny. And a great episode. So we wrote the show in 2018 because we filmed in 2019. So this was like summer of 2018. So we write an entire episode of television. And I'm not even thinking like, oh, well, this is going to cost money to make it. And like, how are you? I'm like, well, we're going to write this episode. So we write the episode. And
the episode is these 4 sneakerheads are in trouble. And they need to find this certain pair of shoes to then trade up to get them out of hot.
Yes.
And Mark Wahlberg's the only one who has these shoes.
And it has this pair of Oregon 4s. And so the younger writers are like, how are y'all going to shoot this episode? And we're just we're going to figure it out. We're going to get to Wahlberg. Like, he'll do the show if we can get to him. Like, everything will be fine.
Which is where it picks up with me.
Yeah, well, so we keep going. So now all of a sudden the show gets picked up. We're making the show in 2019, and all the people that are spending the money keep coming to me and are like, so what are we doing with this Wahlberg episode?
Because that's the pivotal episode of the whole storyline. You can't cut around it.
And I'm like, it's fine. We're going to figure it out. We're going to get to Mark Wahlberg. So there's a guy. So Eni actually knows a guy who knows a guy. It's a ridiculous Entourage style story. And he's like, I know his cousin who knows so-and-so.
Right, from the league, by the way. He probably knew him from the NBA E-League, and I was on that same team.
Yes.
The actual Johnny Drama.
Yes.
Is Johnny Alves, who
there you go.
And Steve, there's a connection through basketball to Mark Wahlberg with Eni and
correct. Me. And so we get to Wahlberg, and what I was told was that he said yes, he would do the show, but there's a guy named Reggie Saunders who works for Jordan Brand, who's like the liaison between Jordan. Any celebrity that's got hard to find shoes, they get them from Reggie. I actually got this pair from him before the Uncle Drew premiere. But Wahlberg says, I'll do the show, but Reggie at Brand Jordan has to sign off on it because he didn't want
conflict
that. He just wanted to make sure the brand was cool with it. And for whatever reason, we emailed Reggie, we texted him all this stuff, and we couldn't get an answer from him. And but we were convinced he wouldn't say no, right? We're like, he'll say yes.
Well, it's all positive.
Why would he say no?
We're actually celebrating.
So now we're in pre-production, and we're like, it's fine. All these people, I'm getting emails constantly like, what are we doing with this Wahlberg episode? And finally, we're like 3 days away from shoot. We've rented this freaking mansion in the hills that's like the most expensive set for the whole show. Like, and the whole show has to have Mark Wahlberg in it. And everyone's freaking out. And I go, the financier takes me to breakfast, and he's just like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "I got it. It's going to work out."
So here's the call I get.
Yeah. So
okay. The call I get is, "Jake, you want to be more famous, sir?" I'm like, "Not really, but what are you into?" Backstory is, Kalen, so that you know, the Mark Wahlberg thing has been in my life since maybe 1994. When I had my syndicated talk show, Mark Wahlberg was just coming up as the Calvin Klein underwear guy. And so that's been a blur. And I made a conscious choice from the beginning that I'm never doing that joke. He's a star. I don't need to suck his clout, right?
Right.
I'm uncomfortable even saying that.
Delete.
No, I'm just hearing that's the Instagram post he's going to make.
Yeah.
Wahlberg doesn't want to suck Wahlberg's clout. But truly out of deference and low self-esteem, I made a 30-year conscious decision and you got to understand, every interview I do is, I love you, Boogie Nights, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I never malign him. And I'm a fan. So I've never met him, but I made a conscious choice that, by the way, he doesn't give a fuck about, because my thing is here and his thing is here. So what does it matter?
Sure.
But I've never tried to capitalize on it. Jay says, we're doing this thing, Sneakerheads. He pitches the whole idea to me. We've got these actors that's really funny. They're getting this bind. They got to get these shoes. Mark Wahlberg has the only pair that they need. They go to his house. They get the shoes, this whole thing. We've reached out to Wahlberg, and he's going to do it. But we don't know how much time we're going to have with him. So whatever scenes we can't get done, I thought it would be funny if you came in and did those scenes, and we never pay it off. It's like a meta joke. Yep. Meanwhile, while he's saying it, remember, I'm high. I'm looking up, what is a meta joke? What does that mean? and I remember saying, at this point, it was a dark time for me, maybe. I don't know.
Weren't you out of town? I feel like you had to catch a flight to shoot.
Because I was going on the road to do Price is Right tour, which I love doing, but it's really like the lowest fruit on the show business scale. It's like, it's to show, if movies are, a great job. Price is Right tour, while I love it, is like driving Uber in show business. That's the level. You do it, it's great, but whatever.
Right.
So I'm about to do that. But in that moment, I hear him say this, and I'm like, I don't get this joke at all. But fuck, if I'm ever going to do the Mark Wahlberg joke, I'd much rather it be Jay's comedy, because I trust him. And even if I don't get the joke, I feel safe that whatever he's doing is going to be funny on a cutting edge level that I don't get. So fuck it. I'm down. And you had mentioned Innie, and I also, part of me was like, it's kind of like the basketball culture thing. It's like if one of your boys, it's like a family that maybe I project a little too much on, but it's like somebody calls you, my answer is always, yeah, I'm down. We're always down for each other. You're here today. That's what that is. So I'm like, sure. But in my mind, I'm thinking, this is never going to fucking happen. Wahlberg's going to show up. It's going to be great. It's great.
Well, I bet you didn't think it was going to be at the level, like when you showed up to that set.
So now I go on the road.
It was a real production. I mean,
so that's our conversation. Yeah, okay. That's it. Yeah. That's the conversation. Now I go on the road.
But we should establish what happened. Is that just so people, if you haven't watched the show, we basically had Mark Wahlberg play Mark Wahlberg.
That's right. So that's the meta joke, is that they show up to Mark Wahlberg's mansion when it actually gets cut together, because it turns out that Mark Wahlberg didn't show up, and I ended up doing all the scenes, right? Which was like 25 pages.
It was a lot.
The whole episode.
It was a lot. You carried the episode.
The door opens, and you're at this mansion, and oh my God, we're at Mark Wahlberg's house. Yo, we love doing all these things, but it's me, and we never pay that off. And
right, but it's not you as you. It's you playing
Mark Wahlberg, but not trying to do Mark Wahlberg.
Right.
But all the references are his career, not mine.
It fucked with people's heads, for sure.
It fucked with people's heads. And the review was, before I talk about, one of the reviews was, before I talk about Sneakerheads and the writing in the show, skip straight to episode 3 for the best stunt casting I've ever seen.
That was Varieties, and I was so happy. That made me so happy, because I'm pretty sure it was Varieties. Because it was a big deal internally, like with the financier. They were like, you are fucking ruining this. This is not going to work. And so I immediately cut that and sent it to everybody. So
that gets to the part where the cringe part. All right, so that's the setup. Jay called. I'd tell Robbie, Jay called. He wants to do this thing. Mark Wahlberg's going to do it. Whatever. He's my boy. Indy's my boy. I'm down for whatever. It's probably like a student film kind of thing. So it'll never happen. I go on the road. Price is Right. Bus and truck. Script comes. They send me a script. I'm like, cool, but I mean, I don't even read it. I'm like, it's not. I don't need. They'll tell me what 5 lines I have to do in ADR to fill in. When that comes. And it's getting longer and longer now. Now we're working out travel, and I got a red eye out from tour to go to the shoot. I'm actually going to do some scenes here. So I know this, but I'm on the road and kind of not paying attention. So I literally haven't learned my lines yet. I'm figuring it's just one scene. I haven't really looked. Now I finish a show in Oklahoma City. I have to get driven an hour. Someplace. I get driven to Tulsa, I think. An hour drive. I get there at 1 a.m. They check me into a hotel where I'm the only one renting for more than 1 hour. Okay? Right? So
did we pay for that? Was that
no,
the production?
it's on my dime. And you got to remember, now I'm thinking it's a student film that I'm busting my ass to go to. This is what I'm expecting is like 3 people with an iPhone. This is what I was thinking of presentation. I didn't, because I didn't read it. So now I'm in this shit bag of a hotel, and I open the script for the first time, and it's 25 pages of dialogue. So I panic and start memorizing lines so that I don't show up completely unprepared. But because there's so much to learn in such a short time, because my flight's at 5:30 in the morning, because I have to be on set at 8:30 in the morning from Oklahoma to LA, I don't even read the stage direction. I'm just memorizing the line and the cue line. Memorize the cue, memorize the line. And I'm saying to myself, it's all good. It's my boys. I'm going to show up at 8. But they're not going to need me till 2. And Enid's like an acting coach. He'll work with me. I don't know how to act, but there's going to be plenty. It's going to be chill. It's going to be fine. Get on the plane. It's red eye. I feel like shit, like I need to go to the bathroom, but there's nowhere to go because that first morning. I said, it'll all be good. It'll be fine. Whatever. Now I pull up, and this is where it just goes off the rails. I pull up to the Beverly Hills location, and the first sign I see is base camp. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Trailers for half a mile. It's a movie, like huge.
Yeah.
And Jay is nowhere to be found. And Innie, nowhere to be found because they're up a mile and a half away at this mansion that's the most insane, sick place I've ever seen.
It's like $100 million, man. That place was crazy.
The art alone
was,
The Cartier doorknobs had to be $100,000 each. Panic. Now I got to find a place to go to the bathroom, right? Because I'm in trouble, right? And so I find like one little bathroom. I'm like, this will be great. I could just go quietly here. And I go. And when I open the door, the AD and 3 other people are waiting for me. You got to go. So my plan was learn how to act and learn my lines from 8:30 to 2. That was my plan, Jay.
Right.
Right. And I'm really like, hey, is Innie here? Because I need to talk. No, he can't. Got to get you right into makeup and wardrobe. Here's where it starts to get really fucked up.
You didn't know you were shirtless yet at this point?
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
Let me just backstory this by saying it's midwinter. I'm not in summer. I'm not Temptation Island form, okay?
You looked great.
Okay. I'm ashy. My body shape is somewhat like E.T. in the early parts of that movie. Right?
I disagree.
Like no chest, big belly, and chalky.
You looked cut.
Yeah, okay. Because what happens is this. I go into the makeup room, and I'm in full panic mode at this point because I've just barely learned the lines. Don't know what I'm doing. And I also have never acted more than playing a game show host. Right? So this was, and I'm playing Mark Wahlberg, and that's all my insecurities, like all of it. Like, I'm not that dude, right? Which plays out for 2 days. I go in the makeup room, and the makeup artists are like 15 years old and adorable. Like, they're young, beautiful girls. Yeah. And I'm this old, fat, ashy, hairy beast. Okay? And I sit in the makeup room, and they're starting to do my makeup, and then the wardrobe woman comes in. She says, I've got your wardrobe, Mr. Wahlberg. I said, great. And I look at it, and it's a pair of Champion sweats, gray sweats, some maybe like corduroy slippers, a protein shaker.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where's the shirt? And she looks at us and she says, no, you don't have a shirt in this first scene. And I laugh, and I say,
where's Jay?
Hold on. This is obviously when Mark Wahlberg was supposed to do this. Both Jay and Innie know me and have seen me without my shirt. I am sure this is an error. I'm just sure you haven't got, there's no way. They know me. They've seen me. There's no way I'm shirtless. This has got to be from Mark Wahlberg. And I'm telling her, originally Mark Wahlberg was supposed to do this scene, you see. So it can't be me, right? And she goes, oh, I'll check. So she leaves, right, to go check with you. Now I've got these two just gorgeous 25-year-old makeup people, 3 of them actually. And they see my panic. They say, what's wrong? I said, I can't do this. And they're like, why? I said, I'm not in shape. And even if I'm in shape, it's not, I can't. I said, you don't know what's going on here. I said, I'm not ready for sex, is what I told them. I'm not ready for sex. And they say, oh, it can't be that bad. Let's see what you're working with. So you know the face a dog has when they're taking a shit and you're watching them? That's me. And by the way, as I sit here, my resentment and anger at you for this moment.
You seem very happy about it.
Well, it built a character. It was a character builder for me.
Yeah.
It was a pivotal, seminal moment for me as a human and as an adult that I've now learned from. And thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Which is the thank you give the guru who gives you the lesson when you're not allowed to talk or eat for 6 months. Like that's this. So, or Tony Robbins makes you walk on coals. This is that moment. So here I am, 3 25-year-old girls that even in my prime, I would never be able to date. And now I have to take my shirt off in front of them. So I take my shirt off. And you know, like when a burn victim takes off the mask for their family and they try not to show them that it's bad. And they're like, oh, that's not bad.
You look great.
Yeah, it's exactly what they said. Oh, you look great. But you could, and all 3 of them at the same time say, you look great. And they go, but do you mind if, and I said, mow the fucking lawn, girls. And they all.
Oh, it was their idea.
Immediately pull out clippers, like all 3 of them. Like they're ready to go. And it's like topiary. They're just like shaving everything, right? And I'm literally sitting there. It's like I'm just bathed in shame. And then, of course, wardrobe comes back and says, nope, this is right. Okay. So I liken this to what it must be like to be on your first day of a porn shoot. And you didn't want to do it, but you did it for money, right?
Yep.
And I'm sitting here newly shorn with scaly elbows and white and chubby, all the things. And I'm saying to myself, I have 2 choices, and I'm considering them both. The first choice is tell them you have to go back to your room and leave. And then I literally waited out. That'll cost me my relationship with Jay and Annie. Might be worth it. I mean, I really like them both, but I think when you weigh this out, it's 2 guys. And maybe some ancillary guys will hear about this. And my career's in the shitter anyway, so I don't think it's going to really affect me there. Or the other option is you go full Will Ferrell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lean right in. Love you, so I couldn't leave you. But literally, you need to know.
This that close.
But literally, going back to the basketball thing, I didn't leave because I so wanted you to like me that I'm like, he'll never let me play basketball again if I leave.
Well, now that I'm hearing all these details, I would have totally understood if you'd not done it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But we still have this problem, which is I don't know how to act.
You're on camera all the time.
Yeah,
you're like, come on.
That's adorable.
Yeah. And you crushed it.
Okay.
You crushed it. You should have won an Emmy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's the whole reason I had you come, so you would say that.
You were amazing.
Thank you. You've been so sweet with me there, but this is now funny. So now
there was a giant sigh of relief around that set after the first take.
Right. So
not just you.
It's not just me being uptight. Everybody was uptight about it.
Oh yeah, all the other actors that are watching at the monitor, like to see if it's going to work. Like,
before I get there, you got to understand this. Alan Maldonado, who's on The Last OG and has worked a lot. Matt Jostin, who I didn't know at the time, but he's a really big YouTuber now and TikToker.
Yep.
And
King Batch is.
And then King Batch, Andrew Batchelor, who's huge. And then Jernest Corchado, I think.
Yep. She's
who I follow, and she's really a great actor.
Yeah,
she's really good.
She got a ton of heat off the show. Like her social media went.
Yeah. So now I've got the sweats on, I've got the slippers on, and I have my puffy jacket over my naked body like a porn ingenue. And then they say, you got to go now. Okay. And so, there's the script you get that I was studying, but then there's the side you get for when you're on set, which are this big, right?
Tiny, hard to read.
Tiny. And I've never seen these before because I'm not an actor. Right. So I stuff that on my jacket and I go, and they take me up to the base camp, and we're ready to go. And I walk in, and immediately Innie, who, by the way, the same Innie who like gets in your head on the court, also on set. He's not particularly like, hey, that's all good. He's like, because he's coaching the other guys, and he's like really serious, right? So everybody's sitting in director's chairs, and they have me call me right over to run the lines before we do the first scene. And I go over to sit down, and I pull the sides out, and I don't have my glasses. I can't see them.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Also, you pros, there's the page number. That's the page number, but there's the scene number. I've never seen this before.
Have you really never acted?
Not at that level. No,
ever.
No. I did a sitcom like years ago. I did like a scene,
right?
And I was in a movie with Bradley Cooper and Jason Priestley, but it was a takeoff on The Bachelor, and I play which again is my spiral of shame that I played like a bad version of Chris Harrison on that one. So I have no identity of my own. This is all in my head, by the way. All of this is happening in that moment. Sit down to run the lines. Before I can run the lines, the AD says you're up, and I go to do the first scene. I get up there ready to go, and they say, you got to take your jacket off. Like, literally, like, I take my jacket off.
And I feel like it was pretty cold, too. And that mansion was freezing. That was like,
meanwhile,
yeah.
Between takes, I'm doing push-ups thinking I'm going to get in shape in this 7 seconds.
Yeah.
First scene is like all 5 of us together. It's pages.
It's opening the door, right? It was opening the door?
Opening the door. They come in, and lots of dialogue.
Yeah.
Which, kind of like if it were college, this is definitely like junior year stuff, not freshman first day auditing the class. And we do the first scene, and it goes pretty well, and people applaud, and it's like good. And then Jay comes up to me, you fucker. And he comes to me and says, oh, you killed it. You crushed it. You're doing great. I'm like, thanks, Jay. Thanks. I was really uptight. He says, so good because all these investors, they thought this was a stupid fucking idea.
They
and
did.
this is the first scene of many I have to
But
do.
here, I want to say something about is I knew, so we didn't know what the fuck to do, right? Like 4 days before shooting, it was like, Dave, the director, wanted to hire like a professional actor.
Right.
To pretend to be Mark Wahlberg.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's not fucking funny. That just looks like we couldn't get Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
And so Edie and I can't remember where we were, but we were like, looked at each other and we were like, well, there's always, we know the other Mark Wahlberg. And people were like, what? And so we were sort of just trying to figure out what to do. And it was everyone else's fear of doing it that made me say, that's what we're fucking doing. And if that makes sense, right?
And by the way, that's you on the court. That's you in life. That's that I know. It's just a
let's if everyone is so scared of it, then it must be good. Like it's gonna it can work. And I just remember finally it was like 2 days before. It's like fuck it, we're calling him. This is what we're doing, and it caused a lot of. I
could have read the part that said shirtless and called you earlier. I could have read the stage direction. I could have prepared.
Yeah,
didn't. But we get through the first scene. I'm feeling pretty good. Jay gives me some love. I'm feeling a little better about everything. Batch is cool. Alan Maldonado, who's a really kind of cagey he's very almost method, even in comedy, but he was great. And so I'm feeling pretty good on day 1, and we get that done. And now day 2 comes.
Day 2 was a tennis court.
Tennis court, but when you originally pitched this...
Oh, it was basketball.
It was supposed to be basketball.
And there was no court at the mansion,
Right, so as they're scrambling to put this thing together, they realize we don't have a basketball court. The whole thing was supposed to be that Alan Maldonado, those characters are going to play Mark Wahlberg to win these shoes from him, kind of.
Yep.
Right? You got to watch the show. It's pretty funny. It's really funny. But somehow it gets switched to tennis, but no one tells me. Not only is it tennis, but one of the things that Jay's great at, which was Uncle Drew, is that his relationships are huge. So all these cameos, these big sports cameos.
Batch is who got Paul Pierce. Yeah, Batch. We were at a was it like anyway? We were at a game and Batch knew Pierce.
You'd had several people do cameos.
Yeah.
But this scene was supposed to be Mark Wahlberg, the actor, and some of his Boston friends coming to play tennis because Mark's way into tennis at this point in the show. And it ends up being a doubles game between Alan Maldonado and Michael Rappaport, who we also know from basketball.
Yep.
And I know. And Paul Pierce and me playing Mark Wahlberg playing tennis. So I haven't played tennis since people use wood rackets, like Rod Laver era. Right?
Right.
So while they're setting this, and I'm kind of doing a little bit of I got a little bit of big dick energy going because day one went pretty well. Yeah. So I'm walking in so relieved. It's like you got a stay of execution, and people are being cool, and like Andrew Batchelor like knows my name, and it's all, of course, it's Mark Wahlberg, so everybody knew my name. So, but now I have to learn tennis now. So while they're setting the thing, I'm hitting balls against the wall trying to figure out how does tennis work.
Well, Maldonado hadn't played much tennis either.
No.
So it actually
really
works. Good. It works in a scene that...
But this is the part that, again, I hate you for but love you for. Because I remember in that first Stone phone call saying, look, I'm down to do this whole thing as long as you clear it with Mark Wahlberg and everybody who's in on the joke. And you're like, I mean, I don't know what he needs to know, but you don't really answer me. So now we go to block the scene. And this scene, Wahlberg, played by me, who's been so generous and friendly and loving, who he really actually is, I've learned, loses his shit in the middle of competition and just really loses his shit and then tears into Paul Pierce, Celtics great MVP of the finals. The truth is his nickname. That
was my favorite line of the show. Is
you want to know the truth?
You want to know the truth?
Ray Allen's team all along.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I got to lose my shit at Paul Pierce 6'7", whatever he is. What you don't realize is we're blocking this scene for an hour, and it dawns on me that Paul Pierce has never been told that Mark Wahlberg is not in this.
I don't know if that's true.
I am sure that Paul Pierce thought I was a stand-in up till action.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. I'm not saying for jokes. This is for real. Because we shot that scene before I think we shot the other stuff.
That's incredible. Well, that's on batch. That's incredible.
No idea. It literally says, so, at one point when we're blocking, he said, what's your name? Yeah. I'm like,
that's so good.
Kaylin, so that you know, it's tennis, throw your racket, dialogue, and up to Paul Pierce going, you know what, Paul Pierce, fuck you, and fuck the Celtics, and you were never the MVP. You want to know the truth? They call you the truth. Your real truth was Ray Allen's team, not you. Yeah.
And we did let him know that was coming, though.
Yeah, of course.
I went to and was like, hey, just,
Mark Wahlberg's going to do this to you.
Tear into you a little bit.
A guy playing Mark Wahlberg is going to do this.
Yeah. So he knew that he was,
So now we have to shoot the scene where I'm playing tennis, like hitting balls between two cameras, delivering lines, and then I'm going to lose my shit. Something comes over me, and I become fucking John McEnroe. I'm crushing the ball across the net.
Yeah, I would never have guessed that you hadn't played tennis in a long time. You hit it pretty good.
Survival, dude.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to let you down because you're so important to me. And also, I didn't want any to talk shit about me. And meanwhile, Sal Mesakela's there, who I also hold in high esteem. Yeah. Michael Rappaport is heckling me as improv on camera and off camera. What did he call me? You fake Mark Wahlberg. You know, point. And I'm like, shut up, you Gilligan's Island motherfucker. I mean, it was like this thing going on. I'm fighting for my life, way out of my depth.
Yeah.
But having a blast. And you were there for that, I think, Robbie.
He was great. And you got a standing ovation after the first take of
Which is
going
what you
at Pierce.
do when, like, the special needs kid hits the half-court shot. That's what you did. That was the vibe.
No, that is not what that was. That was a legit, holy shit, he did it.
So
it was great.
That was, I'm trying to think of anything else that was horribly cringy, but the whole experience goes down as the cringiest moment I've ever had, the most exposed I've had emotionally and physically in my career, and ultimately one of the greatest moments of my life because of all that, which is exactly back to the point you were making, that if it's everybody's scared of it, that's where you go. That's not where you don't go.
Yep.
Which is a huge lesson because the safe part never pays you. So I guess I wanted to have you here to thank you for that. And you were so sweet. You were like, when we showed up to the screening, which I was sure I'd be cut out of, like, didn't work. But
no.
But you were like, Emmy, you should win.
I'm not joking. I think you should have. It was fucking great.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But I really, all jokes aside, I admire several things about you. But the thing I love most about you is that you have this energy that I step into occasionally. It's a flex or swagger of, damn the torpedoes, as an artist, I know what's up. And as a writer who writes comedy, the absolute poison is anyone second guessing the joke. And when you called me, I said, well, I don't get this joke, but Jay does, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah, you weren't the only one.
Yeah, but that's not something you tell somebody on set.
Yeah. There's a lot. It was fascinating on Twitter when the show came out to there was people that were like, this is fucking hilarious. And then there was a lot of people who just didn't even pay enough attention, because there was a big fight with me and the financier about the title card. Because there's a title card that says introducing Mark L. Wahlberg as Mark Wahlberg, which to me was shining a lot. I didn't want to do that. I was like, let's just
you thought it was joking the joke.
Put it at the end. Like, yeah, but it's to me, it's much funnier if somebody
you either get it or you don't
is watching and it's like, wait, what the fuck? Who is this guy that's pretending to be Mark Wahlberg? And then they get on the internet, then they Google like, who is this fucking guy? And they're like, oh wait, it's Mark Wahlberg.
Right. I
thought it'd be funny, like somebody was stoned and watching and was like, who the and then they Google it. I just felt like it would.
Which, by the way, played on that note over and over again. Yeah. So people who got it and thought it was great.
Yeah.
People who didn't get it had to look it up.
Yeah.
And then thought it was great.
Yeah. And some people never bothered to look it up and were just like, why did they have this weird guy playing Mark Wahlberg?
Right. And then, by the way, if you're a sneakerhead, there were also we're like burying the lead here. There were $7,000 Oregon 4s that I'm wearing that you bought out of your own money for this episode.
Well, and not only I was up like $4,000 on my bookie from the AFC and NFC championship games that year.
Yeah,
and that was the year. It was Tom Brady against Jared Goff in the Super Bowl, and I was like, there is no freaking way that the Patriots aren't winning that game. So I took the $4,000, doubled it on the Patriots, and then used that cash to buy because the production was like, we can't afford those shoes for the show, and I was like, well, we can't. The episode doesn't work without them.
And you can't do dummy shoes with the sneakerheads when everybody knows everything, which gets the point of Jay now gives me the shoes to wear, which are his size, not mine, by the way.
No, they're small for me.
Yeah, they were 11.5s or something. You were like a 13. I'm like a 4. But so now I've got these Oregon 4s that are sick. By the way, I knew nothing about sneakers at the time, and now I'm the biggest closeted sneakerhead. And I'll tell you a funny story about that too. But so I got these Oregon 4s on, and now we have to go play tennis. And I'm walking really carefully on them. And then the first like cutaway B-roll stuff is me fucking the shoes up.
Yeah, we threw them over the fence all the way down.
Yeah, but you wanted me to scrape them and do all the things you would never, like drag the toe across the cement, because that was the story. And I have gotten so many people like messaged me with like gasps and like, how could you? And oh my God, because these are really like holy grail shoes that we then throw over a fence. But then I think, did you have them refurbished and sold?
No, I actually gave them to Eni because they were his size. Yeah, so he's got them, and I think he rocks them every now and then.
Yeah,
he maybe got them
a million pair of shoes.
Yeah,
he's to me is like the pinnacle of the sneakerhead culture.
Yeah, he's got a lot.
Yeah, but I got all sorts of shit, and then I went to then. Show airs, comes and goes, and I was grateful for the experience. I'm a better man because of it. I haven't taken my shirt off since. But, I think that's good for America. So now I had a hip replacement, so I couldn't play ball through COVID, everything. I was really in trouble. I got my hip replaced, and now I'm ready to go play ball. Some of the guys from the Y is closed. I see on Instagram they're playing out in the park. So I show up at the park to play just like street ball. Van Nuys Sherman Oaks Park.
Oh, okay.
So everybody's balling up there, and it's a pretty...
who from the...
It was Brandon Brown, the bass player, that you may not know, and
Keith
a bunch of these musicians, Keith Harris and Reggie, and all these bass players and drummers were... Like, I just saw him on his Insta, and I hit him up, where are you playing? So I show up. But the point is, when I showed up, it wasn't our guys. It was a whole bunch of guys playing ball there, and there were like 3 games wait. And I didn't know anybody, right? And I'm a middle-aged white dude who
They weren't like, are you the guy from Sneakerheads?
So what happens is, I'm like, who's got next? And because I know the culture a little bit, I wait about a half an hour before I even ask who's got next, because I'm not trying to show up. If you're a baller, you can come up and flex. If you're a guy like me who you need them to tolerate so they allow you to play in this game occasionally, You don't. You kind of respect the game, which I did. So I kind of watched and kind of made it known I was going to play at some point, but nobody's loving on me, right? As we're playing, a guy running down court, hits a three-pointer, comes down court, down the side, and as he's running down, stops mid-court, daps me up and says, "My man, Sneakerheads."
Really?
And I'm like, first time I've been recognized for Sneakerheads, and this is the perfect place to do it. You see the whole bench look over like, who's that? And then there was another guy from Temptation Island who was also there, and then all of a sudden I was sort of a made man, and then I got in the game, and it ended up being a game I played that whole spring. I played every
that's awesome.
3 days there. But so it paid off a full circle. Went all the way back to the basketball.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm also incredibly curious if the other Mark Wahlberg watched it. I mean, somebody had to tell him about it, right? See,
this is the conundrum. By the way, and let's just say this right now as we begin this podcast journey. The goal one day is to have Mark Wahlberg here and just clear this shit up. Which, by the way, isn't even registering on his world, but is my entire world. Every day, all day long is, hey, did you know there's an actor named Mark Wahlberg? No.
No, never heard of it. Yeah. Oh, I can't imagine how.
So I don't know. He had to have seen it, right?
You would think so. I mean, it had to cross.
Somebody would have had to tell him about it at least.
Yeah, I mean, he knew about the show. I mean, because
Right.
and then you would think that somebody in that world would have been like, dude, have you seen what they ended up doing? Like, they cast the other guy. Like, you would think that he would appreciate it.
The fact that nobody's taking out a hit on me lets me that maybe he hasn't
you're
seen
fine.
it.
Yeah.
But
we'll find out. We'll find out one day.
I guess.
Yeah.
But Jay, know that there are several takeaways from this experience for me. And that's really one of the reasons why I wanted to have you come on and talk about this. The first one is how much my insecurity in life, the 12-year-old kid in middle school who probably was never bullied, but has a perception of being bullied or not being good enough to play or pick for the team, all that stuff, right? Projects on our relationship as an adult. I'm a fucking full-grown man with
Indeed.
a success.
Yeah.
Looking from your eyes to me, you may have been looking at me at the gym going, maybe not great basketball, but I've seen him on TV. That guy's legit.
Absolutely.
And you always treated me with such great respect. When I got the call from you, it was such a positive trigger from adolescent age boyhood, raised in a very similar area. You're Atlanta, I was Florence, South Carolina, 5 hours away. All of that finally getting called up. It was like getting called up to play, right? And then showing up and being completely unprepared, which the lesson for me is maybe next time I'll read some shit. But you were gracious, and you treated me like a peer. You involved me in this thing that you were doing that I was really honored to be a part of. But what I loved most about it was that you didn't pander any of it to me. You didn't manage me at all. Literally, I shot the first scene, and if it sucked, I have a feeling you would have said, this is just not happening.
I don't know what we would have done.
Yeah. I had no idea how much was on the line.
Yeah.
And when you walked up and said, "Oh, that was fucking great. You crushed it," and which is good because nobody thought this was a good idea. I'm like, that he said that to me was also kind of, I took that as a little respect.
Yeah.
That I was a man enough to handle that information. Although I literally could have crumpled and cried. I could have wept.
I had no idea that
I literally should have called. I almost called Robbie and said, "Can you pick me up? I can't continue." But it was. I learned a lot about me in this, and it made the acting thing fun. I've since done a couple other things.
I was going to ask you, did like your agents? You show it to your agents, and were they like, "Hey, you like," or was you were just like, that's it?
I have. It has shown up for me in meetings before, and other fans of mine have said, "I love this," and this. I've done now some podcasts with some YouTubers, Cody Ko and Noel Miller. These guys have a really young audience, and that crossover was there. That they're like, "That's the dude from Sneakerheads," which I got a kick out of because I've only been doing this for 40 fucking years, and that's their touchstone was that one episode I did.
Right.
But now I just did a movie where I was doing a scene with John Lovitz, and it's a pretty cute movie that I'm in. It's coming out, but that experience informed that.
And playing a total.
I'm playing. It's actually. I'm never going to get to actually do anything legit. I'm playing a smarmy version of me from Antiques Roadshow.
Okay.
It's a takeoff on. Part of this movie is a takeoff on Antiques Roadshow, and I play a host, which has another meta joke in it, by the way.
For sure.
So I'm Mark L. Wahlberg, and there's Mark Wahlberg. So in this movie, I play the host of this traveling appraising television show, and the name of the host is Tom L. Hanks. So very much your kind of humor. Nobody will get it, but the writers. But
Those
anyway,
are the best
dude,
ones.
I love you.
I love you. It's great to see you, man.
It was really the worst and
best day
experience ever.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
And you saved our ass. So, and it was fun, man. It was cool. That was the coolest thing about that whole experience, was just being able to bring our friends in and have fun. And that's
I've always loved that about the world I live in, that people like you, Eni, other guys, it's sort of like there's a team, a tribe, let's say, when the phone rings and they say, I got a favor to ask, we say yes before we know what the favor is. And that's the kind of, if I got to get deep for a moment here, that's the team you need. You need to have people that, regardless of where they are in your life and what you do, that when you pick up the phone and you ask a favor, they say yes before you've told them what you've committed to. In my case, I was high and not paying attention. But you guys, I literally was like, yeah, this is never going to happen. Sure, Jay, whatever. You're not going to believe what just happened.
Yeah.
But that camaraderie, that backbone, especially in our business, you got to separate the BS people, which is 90% of things, from the real people, which is the only thing you can count on.
Well, and it speaks to sports and the bonding that happens. And, the Hollywood Y is a part of so many people's lives out here, which is funny to think about. But I'll tell you one story real quick. My best friend from home moved out here. He's now the head of production at A24, killing it, right?
Yeah.
But when he first moved out, we would go out in Hollywood all over, and everywhere we went, he didn't know anybody. This was just meeting my friend. Everywhere we went, it was guys that I played ball with, and he'd be like, "How do you know that?" I'd be like, "Oh, I hoop with him at the Hollywood Y." And so that goes on for a couple months, and then we're at, I can't remember where we were, Cabana Club or whatever, one of those places back in the day, and he goes to the bathroom, and he comes back out, and I'm talking to Derek Fisher, because we had some. And this was peak of the Lakers when Fisher was playing, right? But we had played summer league at the same time, and I knew some guys that knew him, so we're talking, and Eamon just rolls out of the bathroom, walks right up to him, and he's like, "Hollywood Y, right?" And I look at him and I go, "Try LA Lakers," and he's like, "Oh shit, Derek Fisher! Oh my god!" But the Y has
all the time. I would be out with my kids at the Grove going to a movie, and out of context, I don't strike you as a bowler. If you see me out in the world, you're gonna go, "Oh, that guy probably can dunk." You probably think, that guy, coach, is like a kindergarten teacher or whatever. And then you see these just guys dripping, just all the fit, all the stuff, walking down the Grove, change or whatever. And my kids are like this, and they're like, "Mark, what's up?" Because we play ball together.
Yeah.
And it's a fraternity.
Yep, it is for sure.
And you never know where it's going to take you.
Well, KB's and Uncle Drew.
KB's and Uncle Drew.
Yeah. Because we came up there to shoot.
Kevin Benton is our friend that you actually know because he was the guy wearing the Magic Johnson jersey in the hustle scene of White Men Can't Jump, the original.
Oh, that's right.
When they go down to Compton, I think.
Yeah.
And they hustle him.
Yeah.
But KB's acting
He's in
forever.
a couple scenes of that, yeah.
He's done a lot of stuff. But he's in Uncle Drew.
Yeah.
Does a great thing there.
He does. Yeah, and that was shot outside the Y, just on an iPhone.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's that fraternity.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, Jay, thank you, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Anything coming up I need to look at?
Nah.
No?
Nah, just working away at stuff. It's all secret right now. We'll see.
Right.
I got some cool stuff. It's some basketball stuff related, but nothing that's...
Know that if you call me, I will pay attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it might be better if you don't.
Yeah. Pay attention? Let's leave it with that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jay.
Dude, awesome.
Love you, buddy.
Yeah, you too.